Ah, E3, what a strange, deceitful beast. Amidst the loud music and neon lights, you get me excited for games that no one in their right mind should be excited about. Just look back at our coverage of this year's event. No, like, seriously? You can pause this and go back on our coverage of E3 2016 on our YouTube page. I'll wait here. Ooh, kittens. You good? Cool. Now, what games were we excited for? What got our best of show? Mostly Mafia 3. Now, why on earth were we excited for Mafia 3 when we knew that the first two were not that fun? It's simple. 2K dazzled us with a cool booth, a live band, and free t-shirts. Boom, done. We were sold. But, dazzled by the glam of 2K, we failed to even notice the signs about For Honor over at Ubisoft. Sure, I played it, but overstimulated as I was, I wrote the game off as generic sword fighting and moved on, never noticing just how special the game could actually be. For Honor takes place in a mythical war between Vikings, knights, and samurai, and allows players to finally settle the argument as to which soldiers of old truly are the most badass. The game allows players to step into the shoes of different fighters from each faction and battle head-to-head for supreme dominance. While this sounds like an amazing setup for the next Percy Jackson movie, the game never really capitalizes on the premise and utilizes this idea primarily as a backdrop for vaguely divined online multiplayer. That being said, I did find myself getting sucked into the story of each faction's struggle. Similar to Battlefield 1's setup, each faction has its own self-enclosed campaign that presents the eternal struggle between Vikings, knights, and samurai from each of the clan's perspectives. Each clan is fun to play, and though I often struggled with comprehending the objectives, I found myself constantly pushing towards the next mission. These missions act as tutorials for different character types of the game, with each story serving as an extended walkthrough of all the game's mechanics. I'm happy to report that I am not good at playing the Peacekeeper class, and I became very annoyed when I died for the 20th time halfway through the night storyline. Now, to be quite honest, the campaign's story frustrated me more than anything else. It's just so close to being great, but never gets there. It's like it's apologizing the entire time that it's not the multiplayer. The writers establish a lore for their world and motivations for their central characters, but nothing about this lore feels unique or cool. There are cool ideas scattered throughout each 2-hour campaign, but nothing really makes For Honor a groundbreaking medieval fantasy. Everything's been lifted from other, better stories. The game just never pushes far enough. It attempts to be a serious tale of eternal struggle, but I never felt the weight of any of my actions due to the distance the game inserts between its characters and their actions. I mean, this game is about a war between Vikings, knights, and samurai. When I jump into a game like that, I expect some medieval Kill Bill. It's right there in the premise, but it never does anything to capitalize on it. With this in mind, the conversation leads us back to one question. If the story isn't that great, why was I sad that I disregarded For Honor at E3? The answer is simple. This is some of the best combat I've experienced in a very long time. Now, when I was a kid, I would run around on the playground with a stick, fake fighting with my friends, pretending to be knights. While other games have tried to capture the excitement I felt during those pretend sword fights, none of them have been able to come as close as For Honor. Each battle feels like a genuine challenge, a tactical face-off where one wrong move could lead to defeat and a smart move can bring you back from the dead. It feels like a battle between two heroes in League of Legends, with each player testing the other, waiting for the chance to strike. You can never underestimate an opponent. Even when they're near death, a series of clever attacks and parries can lead to your downfall. This makes each one-on-one battle unique and engaging. I'm forced to wait, observe, and strategize, while my usual playstyle is typically the opposite. Delivering this nuanced form of combat to players is like riding a knife's edge. Be too tough and the game will be impossible for newcomers. Be too easy and it will become a button-mashing fever dream. For the most part, the game manages to avoid this by rewarding a player for thoughtful moves and punishing you when you get too cocky. This give and take often leads to what feels like dramatic spikes in difficulty, with the boss being a pushover and the lackey being next to impossible. And, if I'm being honest, I blame this more on me than the game. With each boss battle, I was ready to kick some carefully calculated ass, while each lackey encouraged me to come out swinging, a strategy that almost never worked. Now this same problem persists in the multiplayer. Each one-on-one duel feels amazing and complex, which felt thrilling when I won and exhausting when I lost. Emotional payoffs I didn't get during the more chaotic battles. Instead of pure skill, the domination modes rely on luck and teamwork, two things that are pretty difficult to find on public servers. Yes, I may win a match, but gone is my Game of Thrones-like planning. Instead, I dissolve into, how fast can I mash R2? Now, with all my nitpicking aside, I really do love For Honor. The combat feels empowering, and each kill gives me a rush I haven't felt since Modern Warfare 2. Hopefully, Ubisoft fine-tunes its features and sends a bigger, better, and bloodier sequel our way. We give For Honor 8 death grunts out of 10.